Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We're nearing the end of April now, and we need to find out which graphics card we are going to spend our hard-earned money on. A lot of these sales are going until the 3rd of May, so you have to jump on these before Sunday, at least before Monday, but they run out Sunday at some point. So you need to make a quick decision, but let's go over the different graphics card right now. Intel's graphics card has stagnated. They've gone up a little bit, around the same on all parts. I have put the 3050 back into the mix to see if it was worth it, but it's really not. I would rather recommend buying the B570 instead. I'm also monitoring the 3060 because it should be coming back in stock with new stock, not old stock. And prices should go down to around the point of the 5060. But we haven't seen stock come in yet, I think. So looking forward to that. If it could come down to the same price as the B570, it would be awesome. 4070 and 4070 Super is still out of stock, and I think I would actually just delete these now. Because they've been out of stock for a long time. $5050 have gone down in price a little bit, and I think it's obvious because people are not buying it, and it's not a great graphics card. I would rather recommend the B580 or the B570 over the 5050. It uses old RAM. It has only 8 PCIe lanes. It has the same FPS as the B580, but it doesn't have the same smoothness. The lowest FPS is lower than the B580, and you will have a much better experience on the B580, even though it deceptively looks like they are equal in performance. So it's just average that is better, but B580 will have a lower top FPS and a higher low FPS. So I would recommend the B580 over the 5050. There's a really good offer right now on the 5060 8 gigabytes, which I could recommend. And also with the 5060 Ti 8 gigabytes, also reasonable price here. But the 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes have gone up, and it just keeps going up a little bit every month. And I think we should have graphics card below 40 kroner per FPS before they are attractive, and the 16 gigabyte version just isn't. If you're going to buy this, might as well just buy the 570 12 gigabytes. It's better price performance, a lot better price performance, and I could not recommend the 16 gigabytes, even though it would be a better buy than the 8 gigabyte, but it's just too expensive. And I think the market right now is for 8 gigabyte versions because there's not a lot of 12 or 16 gigabyte versions left. So yeah. 5070 Ti keeps going up. Also, now it's over 50 kroner per FPS. There's a good offer at Komplett for the 5080 for just less than 9,000 kroners. And if you want a 5080, you should jump on this now, because next month it will go back up to around probably 10,000. 5090 keeps just climbing up and up and up, and it will keep climbing until they decide to make new ones. And I don't know if they will decide to make new ones when they get new TSMC time, but it will happen sometime in August or September. And then they will decide if they want to make a new batch of GPUs to put on the market. But they haven't decided yet, and they won't decide until just before it happens. So it depends on how the AI data centers pans out, how they will use the silicon. So we'll have to wait and see. Also, if you're buying used, you need to make sure you show up personally and you see the cards, they work, because there's a lot of scams where they sell you a card and it has the shroud and they have the fans, the cooling system, and then it's just a brick board underneath and they have removed all the RAM and the core, or it's a burned core that doesn't work because they have worked too hard, overclocked it. Maybe they have tried to solder it to use more power and failed to do so and couldn't repair it. All kinds of different shit that happens. And since there are no new cards, the scams are happening more often now because people trying to get their money back if they have a ruined card. So make sure you meet in person when you buy it and you see it working. If they say they can't test it for you, then don't buy it. Don't buy it. Or bring your own computer so you can test it there. 6600 is also back in stock, but the price is not good, so can't be recommended. These are also still not in stock, so I will also delete these. Oh, we should delete them, not clear them. There we go. 6600 is a reasonable price again. I wouldn't recommend this over the 5060, but it's not a bad price. I would say that. Preferably, it should be around the same price as the 5070, but yeah, it's okay. The 7600 XT has also been out of stock for a long time, and it won't come back in stock. I think they have actually called all of them back and stripped them from RAM because the RAM was very expensive, and the card cost like 3,500 Danish kroner and was not worth buying. 7700 XT has also gone out of stock now. I was really hoping for some really good deals on it, but they seem to just are not around anymore. I would leave it on for a few more months before also deleting this. The 7800 XT has been out of stock for many months now, and I will also delete this now. I think the 9000 XT will also go out of stock now. It's going up and up every month, and it's not a good price unless you need the RAM, the extra 4 gigabyte VRAM. I don't see why you would buy this over a 9070 XT. I really don't. And probably even it's get outperformed by the 9070 XT. It's only because I think if you were going to run 4K, then this is a better 4K card than the 9070 XT, or also the 9070 for that matter. Yeah, you know what I'm going to say. It's still better because it has the extra VRAM, and it needs that for 4K if you're going to play high textures, high resolution, and with some ray tracing or path tracing, stuff like that, then you need the extra VRAM. The XTS has stagnated and is still around the same price, so I don't expect it to go out of stock anytime soon. And if you put it up against the 5080, it's a really good price. But if you put it up against the 9070 XT, it's not a great price. It's marginally better than the 9070 XT. And I would probably recommend 9070 XT all the time instead of this. So just buy the 9070 XT. Unfortunately, the 9060 XT 16 GB has also gone over 40 kroner per FPS, and I cannot recommend this anymore. The 9060 XT 8 GB is still at a reasonably good price. I think I would probably rather recommend the 5060 Ti at these price points, but you won't regret buying the 9060 XT 8 GB either. Not more than the 5060 Ti at least. And the 5060 Ti is worth the little premium for getting DLSS, I think so. But both can be recommended. Then we have the 9070, and I can't recommend this as long as it's the same price to performance as the 9070 XT. But I do think I would recommend it over buying the 5070 because it is a lot better. and it's better price to performance. You could argue here that the premium of the 5070 is worth it because of the DLSS, and it might be. It might be. It's very close, at least. But you do get much better performance. I think these are about the same about recommendations. I think this is too expensive. It should be under 40 to be good. And this is under 40, so this is where my recommendation would be, but either is still okay, and you won't regret buying a 5070, I think. And the studios in the future will have to think back to these times, and because the high VRAM graphics card has gone out of production all over, so they have to make 8 GB graphics card work on every game from now on, and at least the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. So I don't think you regret a 12 GB card. Well, this is a 16 GB card. So I think it's difficult. I think I can't recommend the 5070, but I can recommend the 9070. But as long as you can get the 9070 XT for the same or less price to performance, I would always recommend the XT version over these other two, and also over the 5070 Ti. So it's not worth an almost 2,000 krona premium for the Ti, at least. So if we look at price to performance, we will see the 5060 is on top again. Close. Second place is the A750. I wouldn't recommend this, but I would probably still recommend this over the 5050 and over the 3050. It's a reasonably good price, also price to performance, but you do have to struggle with Intel drivers again. So not maybe a struggle, but it's like, does it work? Does it not work? And Crimson Desert showed that it doesn't always work. So we have to wait maybe a month or two for new releases to be able to play them. So if you want to play new releases, you probably should stay clear of all Intel Arc GPUs. I would recommend either of these two, and since the 5060 Ti is better price to performance, I would recommend this one over the AMD one, and this is the first time in a long time where it's actually better price to performance. So kudos for that. This is one of the offers that runs out. I think it's Elgiganten that has this one for until the 3rd, until Sunday. So yeah. And if we look at the cards below 40 kroner per FPS, there are not a lot of them anymore. And if you want a medium to high-end graphics card, the 9070 XT is the only real option here, I think. So if you want a 16 GB or higher, I think I would recommend just 9070 XT. And if you don't have as much money, just go for the 5060 Ti 8 GB. And if you don't have enough money for this, but you can just squeeze enough to get the 5060 Ti, not the 5060 8 GB, then you just do that. And I don't think you will regret it. Maybe down the line you would sit and regret, oh, maybe if I put some more money and I wouldn't have to upgrade now, but that's a future problem, right? And the future might be much brighter because you might be able to get cheaper graphics card in that future where you regret buying this one. So, but I haven't looked into other deals there are a lot of good deals out there, especially in ProShop has good deals at the moment. Elgiganten has good, Komplett has good deals. And Computer Cell has changed name now to CS Megastore, which makes sense because they don't just sell computer parts and haven't done so for a long time. They also sell shampoo and all sorts of crazy shit. So makes great sense. So if you see CS Megastore on Price Runner, it's just because it's Computer Cell that has changed its name. And it's a really good partner and shop to buy in. I can highly recommend buying from them at least. So we also have some really bad news, and I think this will probably be even worse than the RAM crisis, and is an upcoming CPU shortage. Both AMD and Intel has now said they will focus more on the server side CPUs, and they will ramp down production on the PC CPUs. I don't know how much, but the prediction is it will be worse than the RAM shortage. And to some extent, it makes sense to not make as many CPUs if you don't sell as many PCs. But to make the shortage worse than the RAM, I don't really get why you would do that. I think you would sell CPUs to upgrade old systems. Like AMD has just announced that they would bring back the 5800X 3D, and this is really, really good thing to do. A lot of people will benefit from this, and I think these kind of CPUs is where they can earn a lot of money. But I can maybe see why they would not make as many high-end CPUs, and especially the mid-tier CPUs that doesn't sell as much as the high-end ones. I'm thinking about the 7700X, the 7900X, and all these CPUs that don't sell as much right now. Not make as many of them, but I don't know how the ecosystem would allow that, because all the smaller CPUs is a product of a failed higher CPU or a placement on the wafer where the silicon isn't as great. So I don't see how it will affect us yet, but its prediction is that it will be worse than the RAM shortage. So if you're going to buy, it's crazy to say in this RAM crisis and SSD crisis, if you're going to buy a PC, you should probably buy it now. It will be more expensive after the summer. And because I think maybe CPU prices will go up 2 and 3 times also. I don't know if it's because they've seen it's a good marketing strategy because they will earn more per CPU. I don't know. It seems kind of corrupt, but yeah, let's hope the AI bubble doesn't last as long, but it doesn't seem like it's going to burst anytime soon. They have started with commercial plans inside the AIs now, and also monthly payment has started. And I have spoken to a lot of people, and if they were going to break even, it should be costing around 180 kroners for a basic AI subscription. And I don't know if a lot of people that doesn't use it many hours a day would pay 180, 250 kroners for a subscription every month. I really don't know if they would. And I think the free ones will be close to useless in the future. So I think the rest of this year, we will see a lot of them change away from the free versions, and the free versions will be so bad that you want to upgrade if you use it. I think that's the marketing strategy for the future, for the next year at least. That is the transition we will see. They will go over to payment plans, and a professional payment plan will probably 400 to 500 kroner a month. And that means if you have a small 50 to 100 kroner company that uses AI a lot, then it would probably make more sense to rent a Google solution than just paying per person. I don't know how it would come with the professional, but it seems like that's around the price point it would be for a professional solution, 500 kroner a month per person. And you can rent a whole solution for 50,000 at Google with no limitations at all. So let's see what the future brings. But this is it for now, and we are nearing the 20-minute mark. So take care of that and spend your money wisely.